got reborn, essentially, if you will, and start from scratch, and here you go. What are you going to do with your second life? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what an opportunity. I mean, because think about it. I lost all my emotional baggage. On top of it, I lost all my pain. I lost any suffering I'd ever had. I lost all those memories. I lost it all, and I got to start fresh at the age of 37. Now,
Wow.
is that like freeing or what?
That is the most freeing thing. So
yeah.
you had no It's unbelievable.
It was like, yeah.
There's
and
no.
I was real clear between what was my stuff and what was your stuff.
You were.
And it was fascinating because other people wanted to start dumping all their old stuff on me. It's like, no, I'm not playing that game anymore.
Well, okay, so let's say this again. All your garbage got wiped out in that left hemisphere.
Yeah.
So all of your old memories of pain and being wounded and
why do you think I was sitting on the couch with a big old smile on my face?
And the stuff that made you feel like
less than.
Mm-hmm. That's all the stuff that Eckhart Tolle in A New Earth has been talking about, how it really is just like that. You can let it go.
Yeah. Oh, peace is a thought away. It's a thought away, and you make that choice. It's your cognitive choice moment by moment.
He calls them in the book, it does a whole chapter on pain bodies. So you lost your pain body.
I lost my pain body. Yeah. And she wanted to recover a few years down the road, and I said no.
Your pain bodies?
My pain bodies.
Really?
And I said no, because I didn't like the way they felt in my body.
Wow.
I mean, think about what your pain body feels like in your body. It feels like pain. And I'm
so
sitting
you
here
were
consciously.
you were so conscious in the right brain, to think in the right brain mind, that the pain was really a physical pain.
Oh, it's awful. It is. Your pain is physical pain. Just think about it. The next time you're experiencing...
Your emotional pain.
But it is. It grips you. You feel your chest tighten. You feel your brow furrow. You feel yourself get all tense. You feel that. And I just became hypersensitive to any of that physiology inside of my body, and I didn't like it.
So as you then are developing this new self... You have a choice to either pick up the baggage or not to pick up the baggage, or to create new baggage.
Exactly.
And so you chose not to create new baggage.
Exactly.
How did you know not to do that?
Well, I didn't like the way it felt in my body, so I chose not to run that circuitry. It's circuitry. It's all about circuitry. For example, you can think something that makes you feel sadness. And sadness has a physiological feeling in your body, and your throat tightens, and things happen inside of you physiologically. I didn't like the way that felt, so I just decided that wasn't circuitry that I was going to run anymore. So I said no to the circuitry. I said no. You have to remember that your brain's just a bunch of cells,
right?
And I look at the cells as a bunch of little children. And some little children I want to play with, and there are other little children who I don't really like what they do, and I'm going to say,
so
no,
you just say, I don't want to go there.
Exactly. So anybody can do that.
So now you control your thoughts.
We all do. So right now you can stop and think about taxes. How did that feel in your body?
Not so
Exactly.
good.
Exactly. But you had the ability to consciously think taxes and have that experience. You have the ability to focus your mind on what you want to focus it on. So all I did was I recognized that these are things I don't want to focus on anymore. I don't want to put any energy into that circuit. The thing about cells is that the more you let them do what they do, the more they do it without you having to tell them to do it.
But what I find so interesting in the context of what we've been doing on the web with A New Earth is that Tolle always talks about how the past is just the past, and the past has no power over the present moment of now.
That's right.
None. And when that physically happened to you, it's wiped out, clean slate. Yeah. It means it no longer has any power.
None.
And so
my mother was not
literally
happy.
it was all literally just in your mind.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's go to the Gigi
So when
piece.
you don't think about it anymore, it doesn't exist. Exactly. I'm saying let's go to the Gigi piece.
The Gigi thing. I mean, you think about the power between the mother-daughter relationship.
Right.
And if anybody's going to have any power in my life, it's going to be my mother.
Right.
Well, I didn't even know what a mother was, much less who my mother was. And I really liked this new entity, but she had none of her own her old power, which meant she couldn't coax me into doing anything the way that she used to be able to because the
she's
relationship,
right?
Because the game was different now. I changed the rules.
Oh my
I took
God,
away
this
her
is
power.
so
That's the beauty of it.
Oh
When you
God.
pay attention to what's going on in your own brain and you take responsibility for the circuitry you're running, you make the rules of a new game. And as soon as you change the way you interact with other people, the rules have changed and the game has changed. It demands change to happen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's freedom.
It's freedom.
It's freedom.
It's true freedom. Now, have you been able to maintain that?
Yes.
You have?
It's been very important to me to do that. That's how I want to live my life.
So you never picked up the old baggage stuff again? Never did?
No.
You got a clean slate?
I got a clean slate, and I'm sticking to it. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't have stuff, because I've accumulated new stuff, because that goes with having a new left hemisphere. Because the left hemisphere is all about critical judgment, which is necessary in order to organize your life.
But also about what you think of me and all that. Are you able to maintain a perspective of...
I don't care what you think of me. You have no power over what I think of me. I know I'm as big as the universe.
Because you've been there and seen yourself.
Because I've been there and done that.
Yeah.
And now I'm here to help us figure out how to become more like that, more peaceful, to own our own power and to find our own peace. Because if I'm peaceful and I'm owning my power and you're peaceful and you're owning your power, how are we going to interact with one another? We're going to play together.
Right.
We're going to be respectful, and we're going to be creative, and we're going to figure out how to make humanity a healthy organism.
So nobody ever really ticks you off anymore? Or are you able to put that in perspective?
I always enjoy it if somebody ever gets that far, because that's an extreme emotion for me. Yeah, but no, I take responsibility for my triggers, my emotional circuitry.
How do we get some of this, Dr. Bolte Taylor? How do we get some of this, Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor, without having to have a stroke?
Yeah, well,
You're right about finding your own inner peace. How do we do it?
Well, I'm going to go straight to Eckhart Tolle's message and say, pay attention to what you're thinking. Pay attention to what you're thinking, and you are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are created by a tiny, tiny little group of cells about the size of a peanut sitting in your left hemisphere, and many of us let that little peanut rule our lives. And you have to recognize that it's just a group of cells that is designed to tell stories so that we feel safe in the external world. You are not your thoughts. So pay attention to what you're thinking, and then decide if those are thoughts that are creating the kind of life that you want created. And if it's not, then change your thoughts. It's really that easy.
It's really that easy.
It's really that easy.
Let's talk about some of the other things that you know that you needed. And you write a whole chapter, and I'm trying to find out where that is in the book, where you talk about what you needed most.
Yeah.
Yes.
The number one thing I needed the most was sleep. I needed people to recognize that my brain is a group of cells. And at this point, it wasn't about Jill Bolte Taylor. It wasn't about my identity or my ego or me.
Yeah.
It was about, this is a collection of cells making up an organ. And in order for that organ to be able to thrive again, we had to figure out what the cells needed in order to get help. And they were on stimulation overload, and I needed to go to sleep. And I needed to put earplugs in, and I needed to turn the lights down low because noise coming in through my sensory systems was painful and overload. So the first thing I needed was sleep, and that is the one thing we really do not do in rehabilitation in our society. Individuals in a nursing home, if I'd have been placed in a nursing home, a traditional nursing home environment for rehab, I would have been given amphetamines at 6:30 or 7 in the morning to wake me up, and then I'd have been propped up with stimulation in my face. I'd been taken into a social environment because they want you to interact like you're a normal person, and that would have given me every excuse in the world to say, this is pain. I'm going back to right hemisphere consciousness.
I want to have you join us again, and we want to talk about all of the things that we can do to help friends and family who might be in recovery.
Okay.
Also, how we begin to create this sense of inner peace for ourselves.
Okay.
In the chapter in the book, you call it tending your own garden. Because, you know, as the scientist who had the stroke, who was able to observe the whole thing for yourself, and I'm reading about that going, well, that's all well and good unless I take some kind of drug.
Right.
I don't know how we're going to reach that, and don't want to go through a stroke to experience it.
Yeah.
But what you're saying through my stroke of insight is that we are able to access that part of ourselves or brain on a daily basis.
Yeah, it's going all the time. Yeah.